is Nationwide News on the network service of the NTA. Welcome. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. We begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu is currently meeting with the National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu, Service Chiefs and Inspector General of Police. This is the first meeting of the President with the security heads since appointment last week. Details of the meeting will come in our subsequent bulletin. The Ibira Area Traditional Council of Kogi Central has commended President Bola Tinubu for his efforts in promoting good governance in the country and have resolved to support him to succeed in office. This declaration was made during the council's meeting held in Okene. Correspondent Solomon Aidehe reports that the agenda focused on fostering peaceful coexistence among Nigerians for national growth and development.
Members of the Ibira Traditional Council paid homage to the Ohinoyi of Ibira land, Ado Ibrahim, to commemorate the successful celebration of the Eid-el-Kabir festival and discuss critical national issues. The meeting, chaired by the Ohinoyi of Ibira land, applauded President Bola Tinubu for his people-oriented policies and programs. President Tinubu was described as a true Democrat with a pedigree for good governance and encouraged Nigerians to support him.
And the governor is doing his best to make sure that the future will be better in his own time. And we pray for him too.
Every Nigerian should support him. The Ibira Area Traditional Council will support him to ensure that he deliver the goods of democracy to Nigeria.
Regarding the upcoming Kogi governorship election, the council emphasized the importance of peaceful conduct before, during, and after the process.
Kogi State is known as a peaceful state. Surely, the government will do everything possible so that our election will be free, fair, and credible.
Meanwhile, Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello expressed support for President Tinubu's efforts to reposition the country for the better.
We should be patient with the current government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The times are hard, we know. He is just taking the mantle of leadership. And we are seeing a lot of changes already. And we know surely that Nigeria is going to be better under his leadership.
He emphasized his administration's determination to leave Kogi State in a better state than when he assumed office, assuring that the November polls in the state would be peaceful and credible. In Okene, Kogi State, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's participation at the new Global Financing Summit in Paris has been described as apt and pivotal to the clamor for more foreign direct investments in Nigeria and Africa. Diplomacy experts on Good Morning Nigeria agree that harnessing the benefits of the Global Financing Summit requires aggressive follow-up and coordination by relevant ministries of government. Lydia Sampson reports.
The experts describe Nigeria as a big player on the global stage, stressing that President Tinubu's engagement in France reinforced Nigeria's status.
For President Tinubu to have made it to Paris, I'm very happy. And indeed, those who have commended him have done what is proper. You commend what is right. That our leader of this country must be seen where things are happening, and that he stepped out to this important summit is an indication that Nigeria is willing to engage.
The guests urged the president to come up with deliberate policies to attract foreign direct investments.
There should be reform, a reform that will translate the officers to be committed to follow up on agreements that have been signed. You see, it is one thing to go and sign an agreement and then put it on the shelf without circulating this agreement to relevant agencies that are supposed to participate. There should be a coordination unit under the presidency and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. How far has it gone? Where is the evaluation? Where are the bottlenecks? If there are bottlenecks, let's Let's attack and address this bottleneck so that these agreements will see the light of the day.
These, they say, will mitigate the mistakes and lessons in the past, where critical assets in the country had remained on the drawing table for decades, despite prior engagements with countries on their viability. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Nigeria is intensifying efforts to ensure availability of toilets required to attain open defecation-free status by 2025. Oluseyi Adeabo was at the first Toilet Business Owners Conference in Abuja and reports that public-private collaboration at all levels to build more than 3.5 million toilets across the country was top on the agenda.
The National Outcome Routine Mapping WashNum 2021 report states that 48 million Nigerians still practice open defecation. The federal government has since 2018 declared a state of emergency on the nation's water supply, sanitation and hygiene sector, and has set a national target of making the country open defecation free by 2025. With efforts being made especially at sub-national levels, Jigawa State is already certified open defecation free, while Katsina is almost achieving this status, but many states are still miles away from these. Consequently, the incorporation of the private sector to create sustainable solutions.
This conference with the theme Providing the Toilets Nigeria Needs to End Open Defecation, the role of TBOs, is apt, considering the country's current economic realities, marked by dwindling government resources, which has made it imperative for private sector involvement.
Open defecation-free Nigeria is everyone's business. There are some people who don't realize they need a toilet, and that is part of your job as well. It's not just creating the toilets, but it's creating the demand.
This conference will also strategize on raising public awareness on the risks of open defecation and stimulate new thinking as well as innovation around addressing Nigeria's sanitation crisis, with special focus on promoting market-based sanitation approaches. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adeabo, NTA News.
The use of plastic bags have been a part of our daily lives for several decades now, but the sheer large number of disused plastic bags littering the environment, the oceans, rivers and streams now poses health and safety challenges to man, animal and plants. The 3rd of July is a date to eliminate the use of plastic bags, which may be useful, but also a strain on the environment. It can take up to 500 years for plastic bags to disintegrate, so they make up a large portion of what stays in landfills and pollutes waterways. International Plastic Bag Free Day looks for safer alternatives to demonstrate that a world without the use of so much plastic is possible. It is part of the Break Free from Plastic movement, which began in September 2016 and has been joined by nearly 1,500 different organizations. The movement is looking for solutions to the plastic pollution crisis to make the planet safer for humans, the environment and wildlife. Be joining our Lagos Network Center, where Michael Olale is standing by with more stories from that axis. Hi, Michael.
Hello, Nanine. With federal government exploring digital economy to creating more jobs for the teeming youth, experts in information and communication technology have called on government to ensure adequate protection for local businesses. The experts expressed this view as they examine the gains of digital economy. Larry Biley has details.
Digital economy involves encouraged economic ventures requiring skills and sales of goods and services to meet specific demands using the internet. One of the renewed Hope Action Plan of President Bola Tinubu is digital economy, with the aim of harnessing the nation's youthful population and ensuring they are gainfully employed.
Before, the only way you could watch this interview is to have a TV, right? But today you can upload this video on YouTube and people would watch it, right? Now you uploading it on YouTube, you start having numbers of followers, right? The more followers you have, the more you might be able to generate some income, right? So that is, digital economy.
With federal government's commitment to making the sector one of its focal points, what expansion possibilities would it have for those already exploring it?
It will expand the opportunity of exports, and in which Nigeria will be in line as a country like US, Indians, who are actually taking the opportunity of digital economy to move their youth forward.
So what you notice is that more employment is created because of the ease of doing business.
Collection, analysis, and use of information to deliver goods and services to clients will require some technical know-how and training.
We conduct trainings in all the 6 geopolitical zones, and during the course of the training, we provide them with laptops, about 100 per geopolitical zone.
ICT experts are urging federal governments to invest in mitigating attendant issues associated with digital economy, such as protection of confidential data of persons doing businesses online, cybersecurity to check activities of fraudsters, and environmental concerns. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NT News.
Beyond military cooperation and synergy, the tradition of port call within the palace of the Navy has become a vital tool for strengthening friendship and exchanging cultural values. These were highlighted when the Chinese Navy Escort Task Group 162 made a port call to the Nigerian Navy recently. One distinct feature of the recent port visit by the Chinese Navy Escort Task Group 162 to the Western Naval Command in Lagos is the ceremonial display that heralded the arrival of the MSL destroyer Nanning vessel, which is a sharp contrast from previous port calls. The observation here is that although port visitation by navies around the world is a tradition, it however offers a window for fulfilling the mandate of policing the waterways and strengthening diplomatic ties, as seen here, in which the Chinese government and people used this platform to express publicly the bilateral relationship enjoyed with Nigeria, while hoping this will be nurtured much longer.
It's for peace. The peace that with Nigeria, China, we can work together, not only for the two countries, not only for the regions, but I think we can make contribution to the international community. And this trip visit, I do believe that can establish a deepen the cooperation between the Navy sectors.
The flag officer commanding at the Western Naval Command believes conveying 700 Chinese delegates to this important maritime engagement with 3 vessels of MSL frigate Sonya, supply ship Wanshanhu, and MSL destroyer Nanning points to the bond of friendship between the two navies.
They have found Nigeria to be a strategic partner, and all this is in helping us to fight crimes, especially in the Gulf of Guinea.
Nigeria's position in the Gulf of Guinea and its outstanding surveillance of the nation's exclusive economic zone has been attracting visitation and commendations from across the globe. Those are the stories making the rounds in Lagos at this time. Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages, and when we turn, Kaduna is our next port of call, where Salamatu is standing by.
Live in Kaduna on Nationwide. We thank you for joining us. Despite Despite Nigeria's rich and abundant food, experts are regretting that the citizens still survive with what they call a hidden hunger. However, the good news is that the federal government, through the Standard Organization of Nigeria, is working towards sensitizing food processors on the importance of fortifying their produce with micronutrients. Aminu Umar reports.
We have all the resources, we are going to swing into action.
Our mortality rate in Nigeria has reduced immensely, and we need to watch what we eat.
Standards Organization of Nigeria, in its mandate to ensure adherence to basic standards, is using a forum like this one to engage all that matter in ensuring only fortified food gets to the market.
Nobody should do anything in hiding. Come out, it's our responsibility to teach you how to do it, to correct you. We think that we need to do more with the with the northern edible processor, so that we can, help them bring the awareness of fortification, of their product.
With engagement like this, the producers of edible oil in Kano believe they are now better placed to correct the anomalies for a well-secured Nigeria through providing fortified nutrition. In Kano, Aminu Umar, NTA News.
The need to reshape and avoid harmful norms from society and create an enabling environment free from all forms of gender-based violence form the basis of discussion at a one-day symposium. Elizabeth Yila reports that the meeting brought together stakeholders on gender-based violence to brainstorm and find lasting solution to the menace.
The symposium had in attendance stakeholders from the Ministry of Women Affairs, Health, Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, Mercy Corps, among others. Discussions were centered on finding ways of mitigating the prevalence of gender-based violence perpetrated in various ways within the society.
So this symposium seeks to bring more stakeholders from the government, from the media, from the community structures to be able to really tackle the major issues surrounding both prevention and reporting mechanisms around GBV.
We'll raise our fingers at the government, but I'll prefer to first look at the home or the family, because most of it happens within the family, and even the change and even the resolution or addressing it is supposed to happen within the family, community, the civil society organizations, schools and institutions, workplaces, markets, and other institutions. All these things, it happens, and around it and resolving it or addressing it also will start from there.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Women Affairs, Kano, Sa'adatu Sa'idu Bala, spoke on the efforts by the state government towards tackling gender-based violence in the state.
It's a huge problem everywhere, including Kano State, and the state government is making a lot of effort. We are collaborating, the Ministry of Women Affairs, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice. We are collaborating in making sure that we address the issues. It's a multi.
Panel discussion and experience sharing was conducted, and the participants left with a common goal, centered towards taking proactive measures on the menace of gender-based violence. In Kano, Elizabeth Yila, NTA News.
And that is it on our bulletin from here. And for more stories on Nationwide, Nolin will take it from here. Good evening, Nolin.
Good evening, Salamatu. Thank you for your contribution from Kaduna Network Center. And here we are in Abuja and to court proceedings now. The Independent National Electoral Commission, as the first respondent in the petition filed by Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party, has opened its defense before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. In this matter, Atiku Abubakar and PDP are the petitioners, while INEC, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress are the respondents. Counsel to INEC, Abubakar Mahmoud, SAN, tendered the letter of withdrawal of the Vice President Kashim Shettima from contesting the Borno Central Senatorial District in the 2023 general election. The letter was written on the 6th of July 2022. Counsel to Atiku Abubakar and the PDP, Chris Uche, SAN, objected to the admissibility of the documents. Chris Uche, SAN, told the court that the reason for the petitioner's objection will be advanced in the final written address. Counsel to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Wole Olanipekun, SAN, and that of APC, Lateef Fagbemi, did not oppose the admissibility of the documents. The Presidential Election Petition Court admitted the documents in evidence. After the admissibility of the documents, counsel to INEC, Abubakar Mahmoud, SAN, called the first respondent's witness, Lawrence Bayode, an ICT expert with the Independent National Electoral Commission. Lawrence Bayode adopted his witness statement on oath. Mahmoud, SAN, also tendered the cloud tray lock and the certificate of compliance during the conduct of presidential election on 25th February 2023. Counsel to the petitioners, Chris Uche, SAN, objected to admissibility of the documents. The court admitted the documents in evidence. In its earlier sitting, the Presidential Election Petition Court adjourned hearing of the petition of Peter Obi and Labour Party to Tuesday, 4th July 2023. The adjournment at the instance of INEC was a result of its inability to produce its 3 witnesses. Arrangements have been concluded for the return of first batch of 389 Nigerian pilgrims from Saudi Arabia this Tuesday. Correspondent Usman Aliu reports that major stakeholders are reviewing the just concluded Hajj for the future.
It's time to ponder. The major tasks have been accomplished. Stakeholders for Hajj in Nigeria gather here for appraisals on how to overcome the challenges. The return of the pilgrims back to Nigeria is another big challenge looming. The first returnees will be conveyed this Tuesday, but the air carriers for Nigeria will not operate maximally because of the traffic flow at Saudi airports. And again, the Hajj Commission warns on its luggage policy.
We have a window for excess luggage. You can buy a trailer load if you have the capacity.
To some key players, any poor service rendered will not be let go.
We had issues with feeding, and we have made it clear to the Muassasa, that is the company that is responsible for African non-Arab nations, and we also made it clear that we are going to write and seek for refunds for those meals that our pilgrims missed while in Mina.
Health officials say even though they were overwhelmed in the beginning, but in the end, they were able to serve diligently.
But some others came with more serious illnesses, those with chronic morbidities who had to manage many complications of diabetes and hypertension. Some had surgeries done.
During this year's Hajj, Nigeria lost 13 pilgrims who have various health complications. In Makkah, Usman Aliu, NTA News.
And back home, henceforth, any motorist who drives against traffic rules will be subjected to psychiatric tests and made to bear the costs. The State Sector Commander, Federal Road Safety Commission, Matthew Olonisaye, stated this in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. Clement Barikwi reports.
Available statistics by the Federal Road Safety Commission show that 1,441 lives have been lost in Nigeria between January and March 2023 due to road crashes. These deaths result from 2,733 crashes. Wrong-way driving, also referred to as driving against traffic, is among the leading cause of these deaths. In Akwa Ibom State, for instance, wrong-way driving constitutes nuisance on major roads such as the new Ring Road 3 and the Idongesen-Kanga Way.
The issue of one way along this place is also another serious factor, because some of these vehicles that want to come and maybe pour laterite for people around here, when they turn, they want to use one way. They will not want to go and turn the other way.
It's quite unfortunate that people that do that, they need, even without anybody telling them, they are supposed to go to go and meet a specialist, psychiatric, that they are sick or they are sick mentally. So please, they need help.
The Federal Road Safety Commission says it is strategizing on ways to bring perpetrators to book.
Yes, what we'll do is we will continue to sensitize members of the public on the dangers inherent in driving against the traffic.
For now, pedestrians must apply caution while crossing or walking on the affected roads to avoid being a victim of wrong-way driving. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
From Uyo, we take you to Yola, where provision of rural solar power in rural communities has been identified as reliable and efficient means of promoting small-scale businesses in the rural areas. Managing Director of Rural Electrification Agency, Ahmed Salihijo, stated this while inspecting solar power installation for rice mill in Gurin community, Fofore local government area of Adamawa State. Simon Asha reports.
Provision of basic necessities, especially electricity, is said to be critical in the socio-economic development of any society. The installation of 100 kilowatt solar power panel in Gurin, Fofore local government area of Adamawa State by the Rural Electrification Agency for sustainable power supply is a lifetime experience to the people. The rice miller in Gurin, Abubakar Hussein, said the development will guarantee a steady economic growth in the area as well as improve on their livelihood.
The gesture has impacted positively on my business.
While inspecting the project alongside the district head of Gurin, the Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency, Ahmed Salijo, says the gesture is to ensure a sustainable power in the rural areas and to stimulate economic growth.
Some of the equipment that are currently being used as well are not energy efficient equipment, so we're also going to key in another program where we can come and inspect the equipment and then change them to some of our energy efficient equipment, which will now enable them to even have more of these processors onto the mini grid.
And we really appreciate the effort of this agency for their effort to contribute to the development of this community.
I further call on the community to make good use of the facility for the purpose intended. In Yola, Simon Asha, NTA News.
Kemi is in our Ibadan Network Center for more on Nationwide. Good evening, Kemi.
Good evening, Nolin, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has assured residents that the Ibadan Dry Port project will come on stream earlier than expected as President Bola Tinubu-led administration understands the benefits of developing the economic value chain. The governor stated these while inspecting several ongoing projects within the state. Ayomiku Ajibola has details.
The projects inspected by the governor were the Ibadan Inland Dry Port, the College of Agriculture and Renewable Energy, Iseyin, a campus, of the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, Ogbomoso, the Engineering Adegun Housing Estate, Bashoron, and the Ibadan Circular Road. Governor Makinde said the dry port will boost the economy because his administration will collaborate with the federal government more than ever before. He said the state has made progress with regards to the projects, though there is still a lot of work to be done.
We're creating opportunities across the spectrum, and then people are, they are paying attention to what we're doing.
He equally noted that his administration has been creating wonderful opportunity through infrastructure and other key developments, which has begun to attract investors. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
To reduce the burden of malaria in Osun State, wife of the state's governor, Titilola Adeleke, is championing the campaign to sensitize the people on appropriate use of insecticide-treated nets in Osun State. Femi Afariogun reports that the program was aimed at distributing 3.6 million insecticide-treated nets in Osun State.
Nigeria is contributing 10% of global malaria deaths and also leading with 27% of global malaria cases. To change the narrative, the federal government, through National Malaria Elimination Program and rollback malaria partners, including Osun State government, will distribute 3.6 million insecticide-treated nets across the state soon. Wife of the Osun State Governor, Titilola Adeleke, is ready to take the fight against malaria to the grassroots so as to prevent infant and maternal mortality in the state.
Play your part by collecting your nets. The nets are free. Do not sell them after collections.
Stakeholders agree to put all mechanisms in place to roll back malaria from Osun State.
All the wives of local government chairmen, make them to do their work also at the local government level.
It's not enough to give them the nets, but having them use it is what is most important.
Everybody in Osun State coming to our market should go back to their houses and collect the nets, and not collection alone, but they have to use it.
The insecticide-treated nets will be distributed for 2 weeks in the state. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Jos. After this time out, do stay with us. Welcome back to Abuja. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has assured the business community of his government's commitment to policy consistency and better business climate to attract investment. The president spoke when a delegation of the Shell Petroleum Development Company, led by the Global Upstream Director, Ms. Zoe Yunok, visited him at the State House, Abuja. In a statement by his Special Advisor Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, the President Tinubu welcomed the SPDC's offer for more investments in the Nigerian oil and gas sector, adding that such investments are needed now more than ever to enable government meet its obligations. President Tinubu also reiterated Nigeria's readiness for business, assuring investors of his open door policy. The head of delegation, Ms. Yunok, applauded that what she described as incredibly strong start of the Tinubu presidency and expressed optimism that the bold steps taken by the government, assuring that Shell would increase investment in the country's gas sector and deep water assets. The presidency has rejected the conclusions of the European Union on the 2023 general elections as presented in its final report last week. A statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, reminds Nigerians of a press statement issued in May this year, alerting the nation of the plan by a continental multilateral
electoral institution to discredit the 2023 general elections conducted by the Independent National Electoral Commission and won by APC's candidate Bola Ahmed Tinubu is hereby presented.
Statement by Dele Alake makes it clear to Nigerians how this foreign institution had been unrelenting in its assault on the credibility of the electoral process, the sovereignty of the country, and on the ability as a people to organize themselves. The statement says it finds it absurd and unacceptable that in this day and age, any foreign organization of whatever hue can continue to insist on its own yardstick and assessment as the only way to determine the credibility and transparency of elections. Pointing out that they are aware of the machinations of the European Union to sustain its largely unfounded bias and claims on the election outcome. The presidency emphasizes that the 2023 general elections, most especially the presidential election won by President Bola Tinubu and All Progressives Congress, were credible, peaceful, free, fair, and the best organized general elections in Nigeria since 1999. The statement says there is no substantial evidence provided by the European Union or any foreign and local organization that is viable enough to impeach the integrity of the 2023 election outcome. Adding that the limitation of EU final assessment on the elections was made very bare in the text of the press conference addressed by the head of its electoral observation mission, Barry Andrews. Andrews himself noted that EU election observation mission monitored the pre-election and post-election process in Nigeria from January 11 to April 11, 2023 as an INEC-accredited election monitoring group, and it observed the elections through 11 Abuja-based analysts, 40 election observers spread across 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, with barely an average of one person per state. The statement wonders how EU election observation monitoring team independently monitored elections in over 176,000 polling units across Nigeria. It therefore asks EU how it reached the conclusions in the submitted final report with a very limited coverage of the election by the observers, who without doubt relied more on rumors, hearsay, cocktails of prejudice, and uninformed social media commentaries and opposition talking heads. What EU election observation monitoring called final report on the 2023 elections, it says, is a product of a poorly done desk job that relied heavily on few instances of skirmishes and less than 1,000 polling units out of over 176,000 where Nigerians voted on election day.
Right, we shall be linking up with Felicia in our Jos Network Center for more contributions on Nationwide. Hello, Felicia.
Hello, Nolin. Glad to have you join us in Jos. A team of experts on infection control from the United States of America have visited the Jos University Teaching Hospital, JUTH, to raise awareness on the need for infection prevention and research. The reports.
The team, which is a partner to stop sepsis and Kenectrus in northern Nigeria, says the collaboration with Jos University Teaching Hospital will bring about the much desired infection control in children, adults, patients, and healthcare givers.
We hope to add some of the genomic studies and genomic work which will help us tell exactly what infection our patients have, and to also test things like antibiotic sensitivity or resistance, which drugs will actually work, and then be able to expand that data to the rural areas.
We've had this team that has come to collaborate with us to see how we can prevent these infections that actually cause sicknesses in patients.
In a lecture titled Infection Prevention Globally, an assistant professor with the Department of Pediatrics, University of Minnesota, USA, emphasized the need for proper hand washing and environmental hygiene to curb the spread of infectious diseases.
And there are a number of different factors which particularly increase the risk of acquiring an infection in the hospital, which includes patients having invasive procedures such as surgery.
According to experts, 40 to 50% of hospital infections can be prevented if hospital equipment are sterilized and disinfected regularly, as well as hand washing before and after contact with patients or body fluid exposure. The team of experts also entertained questions from healthcare givers on the way forward to achieving efficient service delivery.
Meanwhile, has received eye care equipment worth more than 30 million naira towards enhancing treatment and management of eye-related ailments. The donation was made by Sight Savers, a non-governmental organization. Rinret Silvanus Lott reports.
Such as glaucoma, cataract, and diabetic retinopathy are some leading causes of blindness among humans. Efforts have been put in place towards ensuring that a great number of people have access to affordable treatment and management of these diseases. The latest is by Sight Savers, as it donates eye care equipment to the ophthalmology department of the Jos University Teaching Hospital. Equipment donated include an eye care tonometer for glaucoma diagnosis, a pharmacoemulsification machine for cataract surgery, and a fundus camera for diabetic retinopathy, among others.
We have in all the states that we have worked, partnered very strongly with the tertiary institutions.
Receiving the equipment, Chief Medical Director, Jos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Pokop Bupwada, appreciates the donors, emphasizing that the equipment will enhance healthcare services at the hospital.
You have helped us now by giving us a vehicle to go beyond our confines to ensure that at least the ophthalmologists reach out, to the citizens on the southern part of Plateau State.
The eye care equipment will position youth to receive more referrals from state hospitals, the Chief Medical Director says. In Jos, Rinret Silvanus Lott, NTA News.
Those are the stories from here. Nolin is back to you in Abuja for what's left of the news.
Very well, Felicia. Thank you. The legislative agenda of the 10th Assembly is in the works as both the Senate and House of Representatives reconvene after 2 weeks recess. National Assembly correspondent Lamia Lee reports on the likely areas of focus as the lawmakers resume plenary this week.
Shortly after inauguration, June 13, 2023, Nigeria's bicameral legislature passed information to the executive and other parliamentary bodies on the composition of the 10th Assembly. The two chambers thereafter set up committees to allot seats and offices, after which the lawmakers proceeded on a 2 weeks break. As the Senate and House of Representatives reconvene Tuesday, both chambers will be preoccupied with formation of leadership as Nigerians await the names of lawmakers to occupy the front row seats at plenary as majority and minority leaders. Expectedly, the leadership will be engaged with the constitution of standing committees,
as well as the constitution of the various standing committees, so that the Senate will be fully constituted to discharge its constitutional mandate of oversight over ministries, departments, and agencies.
Following the appointment of service chiefs, the Senate and House of Representatives will, in line with constitutional provisions, conduct screening for approval of those appointments. In view of the provisions of the 5th Constitution Amendments, the President is expected to submit the list of ministerial nominees to the Senate before the end of July 2023. Meanwhile, both chambers have expressed willingness to work with President Bola Tinubu on the economic policies rolled out since his assumption of office for the benefit of Nigerians.
Our main focus
is to see how we can support the executive led by the presidents, Asiwaju, Tinubu, to see how we can recover the economy. The moment we recover the economy, I can assure you that both our constituents and the general public are going to really enjoy the new government.
Some issues may roll over from the 9th to the 10th Assembly, key among which are the issues of women inclusion and constitutional amendments.
Unless we take deliberate steps and think out of the box by way of constitutional amendment to create special seats for women with a view to bringing them into the governance structure of this country. As you can see, women constitute about 50% of our population, and we cannot afford to relegate them to the background.
In the meantime, other legislative staff are bracing up for the resumption of the two chambers with necessary preparations. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Next is Sports Update. And that concludes Nationwide today. Thank you for being part of it. I am Norlene Ebel Ame. Enjoy the rest of your evening.